it's not just usually, but always, every corrupt totalitarian government always does its utmost to disarm the people. There is no other reason for gun control other than that government has plans to do bad things to the people that they're not going to like, and they don't want those people, the citizens, to have the ability to resist.
Demonstrators had defied stay-at-home orders to protest coronavirus restrictions and mandatory vaccines. More than 60 arrests have been made. It's the second day of demonstrations in the lockdown Australian city. Most protesters are construction workers who are rallying against mandatory coronavirus vaccine rules for the sector. They were joined by anti-vaccination groups and people opposed to the city's extended lockdown.
And that goes back even before firearms were even invented, even to medieval England, for example. The peasants weren't permitted to own longbows or crossbows. The best self-defense
they had at the time.
At personal self-defense pieces that were available at that time. Only the corrupt king at the time and all his people could have them, not the commoners.
That's why the old stories didn't have any use pitchforks and farm equipment for weapons.
Yes, yes. Far less effective, but it's all they had.
The difference between a bow and a gun is a gun, it's as easy as going doing. A bow, you've got to actually draw it back, line it up.
Takes time to arm.
It takes, you can put one arrow out in the time someone could put 10 rounds your way.
Yeah. So it's the same with slingshots, like the story of David and Goliath. Malcolm Gladwell also wrote an incredible book just on that story, and showing that if you have a dense enough stone and whip that slingshot, not the little ones, but the ones you whip over your head, it is the same as a 22. I think it was a 22 rifle. The impact it will have on someone. And that's how.
Well, let's start there with the phrase, all David has is this sling, because that's the first mistake that we make. In ancient warfare, there are three kinds of warriors. There's cavalry, men on horseback and with chariots. There's heavy infantry, which are foot soldiers, armed foot soldiers with swords and shields and some kind of armor. And there's artillery. And artillery are archers, but more importantly, slingers. And a slinger is someone who has a leather pouch with two long cords attached to it. And they put a projectile, either a rock or a lead ball, inside the pouch. And they whirl it around like this, and they let one of the cords go, and the effect is to send the projectile forward towards its target. Right? That's what David has. And it's important to understand that that sling is not a slingshot. It's not this, right? It's not a child's toy. It's, in fact, an incredibly devastating weapon. When David whirls it around like this, he's turning the sling around probably at 6 or 7 revolutions per second. And that means that when the rock is released, it's going forward really fast, probably 35 meters per second. That's substantially faster than baseball thrown by even the finest of baseball pitchers. More than that, the stones in the Valley of Ela were not normal rocks, they were barium sulfate, which are rocks twice the density of normal stones. If you do the calculations on the stopping power of the rock fired from David's sling, it's roughly equal to the stopping power of a 45 millimeter handgun, right? This is an incredibly devastating weapon.
Think about it. David was on his own, looking after his dad's sheep, out in the field where there's all kinds of rocks. He's a boy. What's he going to do? He's going to pick the rock up and throw it. Oh, that doesn't go very well. And then he's going to devise himself a slingshot. And then he's going to find out that it's really effective. Then he's just going to start taking target practice. And the more he uses it, the better he got. Then, a lion comes along, bang, it's done. A bear comes along, bang, it's done. And he's been there practicing. I mean, you're watching sheep. It's boring. You're going to find something to do, and so that's what he did. And when Goliath came along, it was, who is this uncircumcised Philistine?
This was an excerpt from The Purple Microphone with Wayne Baker, the people's voice of Perth-Wellington. To watch or listen to the full episode, click on the link in the description below.
This production was approved by the Perth-Wellington Electoral District Association of the People's Party of Canada.